What's up, everyone? Welcome to the High Performance Trader Live webinar where we're going to break down the week. This was a really good week. I'm proud of this week. I'm really proud of this week for the way I traded. My ability to execute, I felt was really good. I felt like I did a really good job planning each trade. I'm really proud of this week. And let's dive right into it, dude. Monday was a challenging day, but I felt like we traded it very well. So first thing I'm going to do is whip out the levels. What's good, Debo?
Well, it's good. I'm driving right now, so I'm not able to watch the charts, but I'm here and I'm listening in, and I'll try to give my feedback where I can, just, not looking at the charts. Yes. So if you reference, certain candle, just know that I'm not looking at it.
Okay, perfect.
I'll stay alive right now.
That's fine. That's all good. We got Todd. We got a bunch of people today, man. I'm pumped. All right, so Monday, so we were opening right there up on the 50 EMA. Previous day high was way up there. With end of day, we were gapping down below. So the way I like to, let me put my pit numbers on. It actually helps really good on these webinars, so I don't have to draw each one. Let me do this. HBT, use set, apply, money shot. Okay, cool. So Monday, actually, there wasn't even really around any pit numbers. I took 2 trades, 1 winner, 1 loser. Right here, it's weird, Darren. I feel like, I know you can't see, but Monday we had, we closed below the 50. I did not short the first initial one. I shorted, is this the day? Yeah, that's it. So I took a short play. Once we dropped down below the 50, we came up for a retest, and I got stomped out of my trade. And then later in the day, I took the little different setup, but still off open print, right here at 11.55. Price comes into the 50. We identify weakness, right? Buyers are not showing strength here. That's what I want to point out. Every time me and Darren talked about it, me and Todd always talk about it. Like, our job as day traders is not to predict anything. It's to become extremely familiar of what strength looks like and what weakness looks like. Acceptance and just toxic price action, right? So when price is hovering around open print, you have to be able to decide who's gonna take over the level, right? And that's where we use our moving averages. There's a bunch of different other tools, but I took 1 short play, got stomped out. My risk was extremely managed, extremely well, and that's one thing I did this week that I'm very proud of. Was just manage my risk very well, right? Todd, we talk about it all the time. Risking 1 bar, never more than 1 bar. And then on your winning trades, you're making 2 bars, 3 bars, 4 bars, right? So that was the short play I took right here at 10:46. Went for a short, got stomped out on the candle right next to it. And then I entered back in short and caught a really good move to the lows. This was a great trade. I felt really good about it. Took profits when I hit a really good return. Not getting super analytical with profit taking, not taking it too quick, and taking it just kind of, when I hit my either equation or when price gets extended from the 9. I did really good on this one.
Yeah, I think this week was tough because, last week was that week where we had very little continuation.
Yeah.
And we just saw a lot of chop. So last week, you would have been really good taking profits early. And so I took a trade on Monday, I believe. We're not able to review what it was, but all I remember was that I took profits relatively quick. I think I locked in like a 30% winner.
Yeah.
And the reason was because I wasn't predicting that we were going to see something else this week.
Yeah.
I was saying, okay, we've been in choppy price action. I'm going to treat this as choppy price action until I see different.
Yeah.
And when I see different, then I'm going to slowly start to change my, how long I hold a trade or, how I manage it.
Yeah.
But, I guess I didn't take it quick, but I also didn't wait as long as I normally do for it to, hit my further profit
Yeah.
targets. So
And
that's what I did good early this week.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say too. It sounds like you accomplished your goal then, right? Like, we always talk about being predictive and being reactive, right? Like, and when you cross over to the reactive side, right, it's easy to talk about. It's another thing to execute. Great job doing that, bro. Right? Yeah. So what? You didn't capture the whole sell-off. Neither did I. But we treated it accordingly, right? Last week, like you said, dude, price wasn't really continuing the way that it usually does. So, doing that was the right thing to do. Tuesday. Let's go right into Tuesday here. Tuesday, I frustrated myself a bit. I definitely want to talk about it. You can see here on the 2 minute, it wasn't the easiest. Well, let me do this. I'm going to pull up the 5 and the 2 so we can cross-reference here. Because that's what I've been using too. I use the 5 and the 2 minute. 5 to identify. What I love here too, and I put this in the pre-market plan, was really getting clear on who's controlling the 50. Right? Look at here how price comes down to the 50. And buyers cannot hold it, right? They can't hold it, and price goes into it. I'm sorry, sellers couldn't hold it. Sellers push price into the 50. Buyers show up here, getting really nice wicks here, and then we get a really nice move into 57131. We get a really nice which was the previous day open print to the T. That's disgusting. It's so crazy, bro. I've been watching previous open print a lot as well. It's definitely a level that it should be watched daily. But then we got that beautiful open print retest. Tell me about that, Debo. I know you took that trade. It was a beautiful trade. Tuesdays.
I'm not really able.
No, just tell me what was going. Tell me what was going through your mind, like on your entry, like. Like where you're just like super like, okay, we're bouncing off open print. I'm gonna enter. This is my criteria. This is where I get in. Was there any hesitation? Stuff like that. You don't.
Wasn't there a cross on an EMA cross right before then?
There wasn't.
Or was there?
Yeah, it was. My bad. You're not in front of the charts. You can't really see. Yeah, it was just bouncing off the 50. There wasn't really EMA cross. It did rip into it.
So the day opened red, right? It opened with a red cloud.
No, that's all right.
Is that what happened?
No,
I'm not really able to see.
It's okay.
If I can't see, then it's
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll just take it. It's all good. But yeah, Darren caught this trade. It was a phenomenal trade. A bunch of traders in the Discord did. I did not take this trade, but one thing I want to point about this trade that I learned from not taking it, I hesitated on this trade, but to really break it down, the 1 hour was beautiful, right? Like, look at here on the 1 hour, we were consolidating above the 50. Buyers showed up immediate and really held that 1 hour cloud and the 50 very well. And we got a really nice open print retest right here. And right here, I was like, I should probably get in this trade. And I didn't, right? And I didn't necessarily, like, kill myself over it. But I made a decision where I was like, what does the market need to look like when trading, like, on the hourly, right? What's some tools I can use to identify acceptance? And if I'm going to use those tools, how am I going to use them, right? Because you can't have a clear approach, see it, and not act. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like I kind of did that on Tuesday. I made up for it Wednesday and Thursday, which I'm very proud of, right? I decided if I see clear criteria in the morning, I'm going to take it. I'm not going to not take it. I went through this time where I was like, I'm just going to hold off on this trade, and that can actually be very damaging, right? If you see your edge, Darren said this before, and I'm going to steal it from him. You got to reward it. You got to reward yourself when you see your edge, and you do that by executing it, right? It's not good to not take it. I didn't take it. It was a beautiful trade off open print, though, and then price just continued to rally. It was really good. But going into Wednesday...
Yeah, one thing One thing I will say about taking every setup you see, and I know it's extremely difficult because often we're not in front of our charts the whole time, and neither should we be. But it's important to know that when we talk about being the casino, I know Mark Douglas talked about this the whole time, but like the goal is that you can be the casino, right?
Yes.
You have the edge, and you are the house, and you have to operate on the edge. But the reason that the casinos can see these returns over time is because they take every single occurrence of their edge.
Yes.
And the average gambler is not taking every occurrence of his edge.
Correct.
He's taking when he feels super confident, and he's being selective about
It's so crazy.
When he trades.
That's the
And
difference.
So that's why they have the edge. And if you introduce emotions in it, and you say, "Oh, I'm not feeling great today,"
Yeah.
or I'm nervous.
Yeah.
That's when you start shifting those probabilities.
Yes.
And they don't start working out in your favor, like you may have originally planned.
Well put, bro. Well put, dude. You just made it so clear to me. The only difference between the house and the gambler is the emotion part, is holding off, right? Because when you hold off, you're now shifting the whole equation, right? Your data is completely flawed. And that's what I took from that day. And this is what I love about days like that. Obviously, we don't want days like that, but when we do have them, there are massive gems in your losing or hesitation days. But you have to learn from them. So after Tuesday, I made the decision. If I see my edge in the morning, regardless the environment of the market or what I think may or may not happen or how I feel that day, I'm going to be executing it. And because of that, I went into Wednesday and got 146% ROI on this SPX trade, bro. It was a massive hit right here. Price opened up.
That's
it was, bro, Darren, it was literally almost the exact same setup as the day before. End of day and open print were literally aligned. Previous day high was right above it. And, instead of being like, oh, I don't want to long into a supply zone or XYZ, whatever bullshit we come up with, I said, what does the 1 hour look like? The 1 hour literally was above the 50, hugging the 9, green cloud. I was like, all right, I have to take this. I entered in. The first, in news, consumer sentiment was coming out in like 15 minutes. And I was like, I could use that as a reason not to get in. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get in this. This is my edge. I'm taking it. Went long. Had no drawdown on this trade. It took a little bit for it to materialize. I was in it for like 30 minutes. And then I just got a massive move into all-time high. Because I was longing into all-time high, too. That was another reason I could have bitched out. But instead, I used the tools, right? I was like, okay, yeah, all-time high is $2 away. News, consumer sentiment is coming out at 10. I was like, but what are the moving averages telling me? And I'm not telling you to long into FOMC, right? But just be cognizant of what news it is, right? And, how has that affected the market before? If you don't know, find out. So I was willing to long this. And I took it. It was a phenomenal trade. I was so proud of it. I was so proud of it. Like, and that's the goal. Like, learn. You know what I mean? Just learn from it. It's a really good trade. I felt really good with it, man. It held the cloud. I was like, dude, until a wick wipes out the previous wick, I'm gonna stay in it, or until I hit my target. And there was a lot of back and forth, but overall, it was a really good trade.
This was the day that it just ripped. Like,
yeah.
No pullback.
This thing just literally it hugged that. Sellers cannot take the 50. Open print lined up with end of day exactly. So I'm like, all right, this is a massive. I was like, this level is gonna contain a lot of volume. I was like, it's on me to trade this properly. And on the 2 minute, right, we got a break below the open, back up above it. I longed this at what was it? I went long on the 948 candle. And then my stop was below the 946 candle, and I held this bad boy, and she just ripped. It was beautiful. I did sell about 30 cents above all-time high, but I held to my target. I locked in a phenomenal winner. I was trading one SPX contract, so if I had more, I would have scaled. but I felt like it was definitely well executed. It's a great day.
Nice trade, man.
Yeah.
Nice trade.
And then going into, let's see, now let's go into Thursday. This was another, I did a really good job this day executing as well. I took 2 trades this day, 3 trades. 1 loser, 2 profitable trades. Open prints established, we're below the 50. Price comes into previous all-time high, which was 574.72. This was the day some large news came out in pre-market, so we had very clear upside and downside targets. I longed the market off open print, all to get stomped out, and then re-entered into a long off open print. I traded SPY on this trade. I felt really good with it because I entered the market long and scaled out on this trade, and I did it really good. I took profits accordingly and caught a really good move. We were shy of, let's see here. We ripped all the way up to pre-market high, but it was a classic rip above the 50, come back down, retest the 50, retest the cloud. I'll show you guys exactly where I got in this so that you guys can see clear entries, because that's the most important part of this, is where are you actually getting into the market. I got into the market on this candle right here, 1142, when we broke the top of the previous red candle. I'm in it long, my stop is below it. Risked about 40 cents here to capture a move almost up until previous day high. But I literally sold my last contract once we broke that 57728, right? Just using market structure. End of day was right there as well. Really good trade. Didn't just take profit because we hit end of day, right? Scaled accordingly. And what I really like about this trade is I took the same trade earlier but got stomped out, and then I was willing to get back into the same exact setup once it presented itself, right? Once again, becoming that house. And then once end of day broke and sellers took end of day and we retested end of day, I went short, targeting 57588. If you've seen the 1 hour, we were very extended from the 9 DEMA. The 9 DEMA was at 57580, and price was up here at like 57750, so almost $2. That's opportunity to me. That's exactly what we did Friday too, when we missed the rally. So that's one thing that this week really helped solidify, was when you get extended from the DEMA on the 1 hour, hold off and then play into it. It's crazy, bro. I literally, the 9 DEMA, I'm constantly preaching about it, but I do because of how much it serves me, right? Like anytime I'm extended from that moving average, I don't chase long or short. Instead, I either play into it or wait for a price to come back to it. In this case, I played into it, and it was a really, really good trade. I felt really good about it. It was like a quick 10-minute scalp.
How have you been using higher time frames this week? Have you been using the hourly, or have you, like,
yes.
How much has the story on higher time frames played into the trades?
Oh, bro,
that you've
it was
taken?
mega. I mean that hourly, literally every single time I put on a trade, I'm gotta know where price is on the hourly, right? And the main reason is like, just like on lower time frames, right? Like, I know you can't see, Darren, but like when price action closes above a critical level on the 1 hour, it's the same principle as when price action closes above a critical level on the 5 minute, right? It's a sign of strength, right? So when seeing that on the 1 hour, right? Like, so when you're watching a critical level on the 1 hour and you just closed above it, now I'm diving into lower time frames. Now I'm looking for my entry, right? When I'm getting far away from that moving average on the 1 hour, I'm being patient. That's what we did Friday, right? So Friday, on the 1 hour, we just rallied. I was dropping my daughter off at school and I missed the morning setup. a fake out below the 50, right? We closed below the 50, and then we closed back above it, right? It was a massive bull 180. Hold up 1 second. So, but I missed it, more or less, right? I missed the long play. We get the EMA crossover off the first candle. By the time I get to the market, this thing's rallying, right? So the old Josh would have been like, oh, okay, it's bullish market conditions, so I have to go long, and then wait for a pullback and get stomped out, right? But we log all of our losers. We become very self-analytical and critical, and we realize that doesn't serve me. So now I go, okay, how far away are we from the 9D EMA? So price was up here at 580. The 9 on the 1 hour was at 577.80, right? So $2.20 away. So now I'm going, okay, I want to play into that 9. Well, that 9 lines up with the 50 EMA, so now I have my target. So now I need my criteria, right? We identified a green bar that was ignored at the highs over here at, let me see, basically a little supply zone towards the high of day, right? And I didn't want to play into it because of how far that 9 was. And dude, on the live, Darren, I'm going, guys, I would kill to go long. I was like, I just can't. I'm not allowed to. I've taken so many losing trades this way. I can't do it. So I'm like, if it is what it is. I was like, you guys know, my goal, I want to come on the live. I want to give a great trade. But it's 12:10. I got to hop off. No trades for the morning. And then once I hop off, Debo, price rips into that supply zone at 579.70. And then I get my first green bar ignored. I miss it. And then it comes up and then makes another beautiful short entry. I got in short around 579.10. And I shorted down to the 50 EMA, which was down here at, let me see, 578.30. On SPX, this was a 78% return trade. And I just want everybody to know, right? Like, so if you're missing the whole rally, right? I missed the whole morning. Doesn't matter. I still squeezed 70% ROI out of this trade because I was patient. I was disciplined. I chose not to break any of my rules or criteria, right? And I still managed to put on a phenomenal trade, right? Like, we constantly are lying to ourselves. We don't necessarily, like, it's okay to miss setups. Like, it's okay. You will find another dollar move that's going to make you, if not a better return. But yeah.
So on a day when we saw such a strong move up, what style of, like, did you change the style of trade that you were trying to get into?
Yes.
When you were taking that short trade? Because I think that's huge. Like, we can't always assume that, like an equal move up means an equal move down.
Correct.
And we just have to, like you took profits at a great spot. You were saying, instead of targeting low of day or open print, you were saying, okay, I'm only going to take this when it comes back to the 50.
Yeah.
So you had your expectations in check.
Yeah.
And they were driven by what had happened already that day. I think that's really important too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like I like how you say change the style, right? Because there's so many times, Darren, so many of my losing trades is I miss a setup and then I try taking the same setup just like, like a massive rally. You don't want to miss the long, so you wait for the pullback. Well, in this case, that criteria just didn't present itself. And I remember thinking, bro, I was like, for me, if I want to put on a good trade today, I'm going to have to look at this differently. I was like, and then I was seeing how far away that 1 hour was, the 9, and I was like, well, based off statistics, 9 times out of 10, price either has to consolidate and wait for that moving average to catch up, or price sells off into it. I was like, well, if I get short criteria, I'll play into it. And then that 9 lined up very well with the 50. I wanted to move down to all-time high. That would have been great. But I was more or less like, listen, play into the 50. Don't need to be the hero today, right? Just don't get greedy. SPX contracts later in the day pay extremely well, which is why I chose to trade. And that's another thing I've been doing, based on the environment or the market conditions. I'll switch from SPY to SPX, right? Because obviously, if I'm going for a large trending trade, I probably want to trade SPY. If I'm going for a quick scalp, SPX might make a little more sense, right? So just trying to utilize my tools a little bit better.
And why is that? Why do you pick one over the other?
Well, so I guess it's all about where my target is, right? So and the price action leading into it, right? So like if let's go back. I'll show you. I know you're driving, but I'm gonna just try to walk it through. So like the previous day where I took the long off open print, my target was end of day up top, right? So I'm going, okay, this is a good trade for SPY because I might want to take profits in between this, right? Whereas if I'm going for a quick, a more shorter play, one that's like more like I'm more focused on the 2-minute time frame. It's weird, but it has everything to do with how far away my target is and what my expectation is, right? Because if I'm going for like a $2 move, SPY's probably gonna make a little more sense, right? Like if I'm going for a 30 or a 30-cent move to maybe a dollar move, SPX is gonna work great. And so a lot of trades that I used to write off because my target was too far away, SPX will work great for, right? Because you get such a fast return. I'm still working on coming up with like, real specific reasons, but I would say it's got a lot to do with where my target is, and how far my stop needs to be, stuff like that.
Yeah, because I can imagine, SPX is the type of trade you like to scalp on.
Yes.
And that's because pullbacks hurt you really bad.
Yeah.
And if you're expecting a larger move, that means you're going to have to hold on to it for longer.
Yeah.
Which means the pullbacks are going to cost you more and more the longer you hold on to that trade.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah.
And so that I'm assuming that's part of the
Yes.
reason is because a larger trade or further target means you have to hold the trade for a longer time.
Yeah.
And your pullbacks are going to hurt you more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like and that's the thing, right? Like SPX is a great tool. It makes you tons of money. But I noticed, right, going through my journal, a lot of my losing trades or like less effective or less profitable, I was making worse decisions sometimes because I would be holding an SPX contract to 0 day through pullbacks. And now every pullback, it's like imagine being up 50 or like 30 to 40% on a trade, and a pullback brings you back to break even, right? Was it even worth it?
Oh yeah,
Like,
at least.
like was
at
it?
Least.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're up 50% and
Yeah.
you're down to 0 again.
And now that would change my style of trading because now I'm getting in and out very quickly. And now that's programming my mind to be more of a scalper when I'm more of a trend trader, right? So there's some conflicting things going on there, right? So I'm like, okay, there has to be a time for SPX. There has to be a time for SPY, and just being super clear on that. But overall, I was really proud of the way we traded this week, especially with it up at all-time highs. And I love seeing what the market's doing. I mean, it's beautiful bullish structure. I'm not saying next week's going to be easy, but at least we kind of know our environment. We're going to play our critical levels. Going into next week, what served me best this week, 50 EMA, 1 hour time frame 9, RBIs and GBIs, right? Like clouds, crossovers, like all of that is really doing me very well. And it gives me that extra patience.
Yeah, last week was really tough with indecision, and it's not like there's not indecision now, but there's a lot of other things which, I think institutions are able to, understand the economy. There's like a lot of earnings, big tech earnings, and big bank earnings that are coming out this month.
Yeah.
For Q3.
Yeah.
And I think it's giving them a little bit more information to make decisions on. And Also, everybody's waiting to make decisions, investment decisions based on the policy of who gets elected.
Yeah.
And it's such a toss-up that I think we're gonna keep seeing some kind of indecision until the